afternoon, college football fans. What's going on, y'all? My goodness. Week number one of college football season was absolutely insane, and we loved it. Oh, yes. Ladies and gentlemen, you are officially tuned in live to 3-and-Out College Edition right here on IE Sports Radio. Your direction for all that is sports. Ladies and gentlemen, this was the team, to say the least. My goodness, so many great football games, and Notre Dame almost blew. One of the most, seriously, this would have went down in history if Notre Dame would have lost this game. But big ups, Florida State would make it happen almost before Notre Dame would close the door on Monday night. What a way to start off the college season. That was actually Notre Dame's first overtime in history. I know, I was put that one in that stat too. And of course, can we say what's up to the Georgia Bulldogs? Oh my God. So much football coming our way from high school to junior college to the NAIA to the NCAA. We're bringing to you live here on 3-and-Out College Edition right here on IE Sports Radio. Your break for all that is sports. What's going on, college football fans? How's everybody doing out there tonight? Hopefully you are having a wonderful time enjoying college football, because we certainly did. I'll tell you right now, I gotta tell you, welcoming in here my boy, man, glad to have him here tonight. I know he enjoyed some college football this past weekend, because there was some good stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, he, of course, is host of Set Point, the SoCal Screen Sports Show, and co-host of this show here, of course, 3-and-Out College Edition. And he is, of course, one of the COOs of IE Sports Radio, welcoming die-hard college football fan along with myself, Mr. Taryn Rodriguez. What's going on, Taryn? How you doing today, brother?
Hey, Larry B. Great to be on. It is great to be back here on this Wednesday afternoon, or Wednesday evening, depending on when you're listening. And I'm excited to talk to college football.
You and me both, but I'm so excited for this. And we had ourselves a great opening week. Big ups to our boy Pierre Moss in the chat room, by the way. They just had a great show themselves, starting us off here on this pretty awesome Wednesday of sports talk here on IE Sports Radio with the show that never sleeps. Big ups to both Mr. Harrison Glazer and Mr. Pierre Moss, talking lots of Jets and Giants, getting you ready for Sunday. Both of their teams go into battle, so best of luck to those New York teams. Ladies and gentlemen, college football was crazy. We could talk some New York football coming up as well this past weekend. Syracuse, man, talk about some football. But with that said, Taryn, my goodness, there has been so many highlights, so many really cool things moving in this week, and there's just so much we got to get to in such a little bit of time. But I always got to say thank you so much for tuning in. As I always say, all glory to God. That's right, y'all. Without him, nothing is possible. And, of course, showing love to all you listeners out there. Without you guys, IE Sports Radio is not possible. So, gotta, take credit where credit's due and show all the love that we can. And thank you all so very much. Real quick shout out to our sponsors, of course, the SoCal Warriors. I am a part of that team and very proud of it. Very happy. We had a bye week last week, and we are on to week number 5 now of the season. I am back being active after my LCL injury, and really excited to be ready, and my hamstring pull as well. So really excited to be back on the field this week as we take on the very good football team, by the way. Sucks to even say this, but A lot of these guys were, well, actually all these guys were Warriors once, but a little split, a little divide in the team, and they went ahead and made their own team. But hey, all love, man. Bummed out be playing against some guys that I called teammates for a long time, but hey, best luck to them in their season, and hey, best luck to us Warriors, and it should be a good football game. That's what I'm looking forward to. No hard feelings, and big ups to this football team coming on over from Fontana, from the Inland Empire, of course. So shout out to the Inland Empire Kings. We're going to have ourselves a good little football game coming up on Saturday, 6 p.m. Pacific time. And of course, big ups to my boy Taryn, man. He's actually going to be in the house calling the game as he did in week number 1 versus the Scorpions. So really excited to have you back in the announcer booth, man.
I'm glad to be announcing, and I appreciate y'all giving me the opportunity to announce for y'all a second time.
Man, I'm looking forward to it, man. And I just feel like this is going to be a great, great, great game. And it's just gonna be great. It really is. So with that said, Taryn, we only got an hour to get through all of this football. So let's do the dang thing, man. Starting it off as we always do with some high school football here today. Taryn, the OC is packed with plenty of great football. We had some good stuff over here in the Inland Empire. Not going to get too much into that today because we do got to get to the top 25 and everything. So big ups to Marcus. Looks great, by the way, in the chat room. What up, what up, what up, though? We'll be talking some Chandler High School football in just a little bit in Marcus's neck of the woods. Also, New Jersey, man. Big ups to Jersey football. I know Pierre Moss does cover the Irvington Spartans, so big ups to them. But the team we'll be talking about tonight in New Jersey, well, we'll save that for you. But yeah, there's a team in the top 25 from Jersey that are pretty solid. So with that said, we will be talking, all that coming up here. But starting things off, Taryn, what's going on in Orange County for some football, man?
Well, to add on to your little comment of other teams that we're going to be talking about nationally, we won't be talking about Bishop Sycamore. but anyway, one notable matchup in Orange County that happened was Mission Viejo versus Long Beach Poly, the powerhouse battle between two of the greater public schools. And Mission Viejo got back on track. They were able to handily defeat Long Beach Poly. I wasn't surprised to see Mission Viejo back on track, but for Long Beach Poly, they have played such a brutal schedule in their neck of the woods. They played Sarah, which they almost won, and they have the Moore League, which is obviously going to be improved, but Mission Viejo got back on track quite nicely. I was not surprised to see them. Other than that, there wasn't too many noteworthy matchups, there were a lot of noteworthy matchups, but not too many surprises. There was Orange Lutheran barely getting past Edison, 23-21. So there was that little noteworthy tidbit, but other than that, it was pretty much business as usual.
Well, that is awesome. We'll be talking about Servite in just a little bit as well, one of the top 25 teams in the country. And yeah, nothing too crazy over here. There's definitely the football factory is back in action, of course. Corona Centennial, we talk about them. They got down as they usually do. They would beat Sierra Canyon. Sierra Canyon is a pretty gosh dang good high school. This is up in Chatsworth, and pretty strong school. I know in basketball, they have a really good basketball program, I believe so. Is this the team where LeBron Jameson played for, Taryn?
I forgot. I thought he played in like Akron or something.
Oh, okay, wait a minute. Yeah, so I don't know whose son. Somebody had a son. I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping now, but I don't know. Sierra Canyon is a pretty solid program. But yeah, this last past week, Corona Centennial, man, they would get it done. They'll win their first. A couple weeks ago, they would defeat at home, as a matter of fact, 57-14. Nice little victory here over Cathedral Catholic, the Dons, and that was at home. We had a scrimmage there one time versus San Diego Mesa from RCC when we played over there, and that was a really nice stadium. And then this last past Saturday, actually, there was a Saturday game. Sierra Canyon would take on Centennial, and Centennial would get the nice victory there at home, and actually on neutral site. And 35-14 victory there. So big ups to the football factory. They're heading on over to not your neck of the woods, but actually, yeah, they are your neck of the woods. J. Sarah Catholic. I believe you just talked about them, correct? Or no, the other Sarah you talked about.
That was Sarah. Sarah is as in
San Diego.
J. Sarah was supposed to play last week against my alma mater, Newport Harbor, but unfortunately got postponed due to COVID and whatnot, and it's been moved to the 24th. So at least the game is still on, and no one has to face any forfeits or whatnot. So I'm still looking forward to that game, but for Newport Harbor losing out on its bye, that's kind of brutal because now they get 8 straight weeks of football, and most of their opponents are not anything to sneeze at, as I would always say. But the bye was actually a blessing in disguise because they got some of their players back from injury. So we'll see.
Well, I agree. Definitely not some tough stuff going down. Big ups to my Paris Panthers. Unfortunately, they would lose a nasty game last Thursday. I would bring that up last week on the Sports Couple Perspectives with my beautiful, wonderful, amazing fiance Cecilia. Desert Hot Springs, actually, they fell off, man. They beat down Paris 46-8 last week. So best of luck to Paris as they take on Cathedral City at home this coming weekend. How about Newport Harbor? Who are they taking on this week?
They have Capo Valley on Friday.
Okay, how was that?
At home.
Oh, it's this week.
Yes, this week, and it's at 7 p.m.
Alrighty, well, with that said, also, pretty cool, coming up here, let's take a look here. Oh, actually, sorry, let's go ahead and move on into that top 25. There are so many great teams to get to in so little time, so all you high school fans out there, fans of the top 25 in the country, let's take a look at this. So, from 25 all the way to 21, from 25, to 21, Gonzaga, Washington actually jump on in the top 25 now, out of Washington, D.C. They'll defeat McDonough last week 23-7, and they're now 2-0 on the season. They have climbed their way in. St. Francis Academy, they were as high as, I think, number 2 a couple years ago, if I'm not mistaken, Taryn. They were up there. They would take they would take a loss here from St. Thomas Aquinas, 38-23 this past week, as they start the season 0-1, but they're still in it. The Panthers are still in it from Baltimore, Maryland, so they are at number 24. Bixby, the 2-0 Bixby team out of Oklahoma, defeating Jenks 23-15 last week. Now they're 2-0 on the season. We have, of course, St. Thomas Aquinas Raiders, as we just mentioned, let's see here. They would defeat Jesuit. They would lose, actually, to Jesuit 24-21. Very good football game here, as it will drop to 1-1 now on the season. I just mentioned Corona Centennial getting a nice victory over Sierra Canyon, 35-14 at a neutral site, staying at number 21. All right, now, bringing it up here, Jesuit, as we just mentioned, will defeat St. Thomas Aquinas. They are up at 20 right now. Buford, out of Tampa, Florida. We have here the Jesuit Tigers defeating, let's see here, where would they be at? That's the team that just defeated, of course, St. Thomas Aquinas. So there we have it. They are hanging out there. My goodness, all these little teams. Sorry, Buford, I'm sorry about that. That was actually, I don't know, I pressed the wrong freaking button. Wouldn't you know it? So that was Jesuit out of Tampa. Buford is out of Buford, Georgia, the Buford Wolves. My apologies there. They would beat Clark Central 16-3 as they go to 2-0 on the season. Corner Canyon out of Draper, Texas. Now 4-0 in the season, man, at the 6A Region 4. Pretty high up there in Texas football, from what I understand. 70-7. They will beat down Jordan and move their way on in to number 18, so strong there. Next up, South Lake Carroll football, the Dragons out of South Lake, Texas. They will celebrate a victory last week out of over Rockwall Heath, 36-35. Man, barely barely squeezed that one out. Next up, we have St. Xavier in Cincinnati, 3-0 now on the season, defeating Liberty, 49-0. My goodness, talk about a beatdown, man! Quite the performance there. Next up, we have St. Joseph. By the way, that is 16. So from 15 now to 11, St. Joseph's Prep, the Hawks out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, will defeat this past week. Let's see here. Who would they knock off? My goodness, 40-0. Let's see here. Who will they defeat? St. Mary's Riken, I believe. The Knights, 40-0. Big ups there to this pretty strong football team here, St. Joseph's Prep there. Chandler, as we mentioned, put to Marcus Lowe's great. In his neck of the woods, the Chandler Wolves, very good football team. They will, of course, start their season off with a victory over the Centennial Coyotes, of course, out of Peoria, Arizona. 28-7 victory here. So big ups to them on that nice win. Katy, Texas, 2-0. Hey, the Katy Tigers are doing their thing over there in Texas, defeating Cypress Woods 42-7. De La Salle, a team that we know all too well, now 2-0 on the season as they destroyed, and I hate to say it like that, but absolutely destroyed, Monterey Trail 68-6. Next up here, and that was number 12, and then number 11, Servite. Well, they would have quite the start to the season, Taryn. We talked about them. They destroyed Mission Viejo 44-7 a few weeks ago. They'll be back in action this week, I believe. Yes, taking on Bishop Amont. Very good football team there, by the way. And there you have it. Anything to add for Servite, Taryn?
Well, it sucks that they didn't get a game last week. I believe their original game was canceled because of COVID and whatnot, but I'm glad to see Servite is back up and running again. I think the same can be said for Mater Dei. There were actually murmurs saying that Mater Dei and Servite should play one another in a non-league game, but I guess it didn't happen, but that's all right. It's all good. We'll get to see them in league when the two face off against one another. I believe at the Santa Ana Bowl, if I'm not mistaken.
Should be some good stuff there. Next up, we got Center Grove out of Greenwood, Indiana, 3-0 now on the season. So big ups to them defeating Carmel, 41-14. Next up, North Shore out of Houston, very strong football school there, defeats Klein Collins 34-7. Now also, they're 2-0 on the season. Collins Hill, very good team here out of Suwanee, Georgia. They will get a nice victory, man, 37-22. Pretty good game, actually. That's a pretty good game, actually, over Greenville Christian this past week. Now they will be, I believe, let's take a look where they are again. 3-0 on the season. 2-0 on the season. Bishop Gorman, the team out of Vegas. That's right, y'all. The team out of the desert defeats Central 21-20. Man, was that a dogfight. Very good football team, though. Well, very good stuff here. Central had them on the ropes. But we have Bishop Gorman now going 2-0 on the season. Bergen Catholic. This is the school we're going to be talking about, Pierre Moss. Bergen Catholic, the Crusaders out of Oradell, New Jersey. 2-0. They absolutely just destroyed this team. Smyrna, I honestly do not know how to pronounce this name. Taryn, if you're in there. If you're in the chat room, they're out of Delaware, the Smyrna Eagles, I believe. But yeah, absolutely blew them to smithereens, 52-6. My goodness, Bergen Catholic is. I'm looking for them this year, like towards the end of the season. I hope they're still up here. Now the top five: Thompson out of Alabaster, 3-0 out of Alabaster, Alabama. Talking to you, Davison Crooks, team out of there, out of Alabama. TCHS, my goodness, 58. This is Tuscaloosa County, by the way, 58-0. Talk about a beatdown here. Next up, of course, we're going to get some better games, I hope, this season from these top teams. Westlake out of Austin, Texas. Absolutely. Trinity, 34-14. Big victory for them. Next up, St. John Bosco, as we know now, 3-0 on the season. They will knock off Bishop Amont 47-7 this past week. Now 3-0. The IMG Academy. Well, the first game of the season, we we know they would play. Good old Bishop Sycamore, but they actually had a legit game. That was, I guess, a legit game. But in week number 2, La Salle, man, 58-7. Regardless of Bishop Sycamore being a fake team or whatever. The IMG Academy is the number 2 team in the country for a reason. So extremely strong there. Big ups to them. 2-0 now in the season. As we just talked about Modern Day, they would win their first one, as we talked about last week. They would defeat Duncanville 4-3. Now they're going to be taking on Liberty out of Henderson, Las Vegas, and Henderson is currently 3-0 right now, defeating our review 42-14 in week 1. Canyon Springs, North Las Vegas, 40-0, and Foothill 34-6 last week. Good stuff. I'm sure those are good schools. Who knows? But I know Modern Day is one tough customer, so let's see if Liberty can give them a challenge. So with that said, that is that, and there it is. Pierre Moss here in the comments says Bergen Catholic is no joke per usual. I'm really excited to look for them this year and see what they got going on. So with that said, Taryn, let's go ahead and jump on over now into some college football, of course, and move on into the CCAA. Taryn, there was some good football this past week, man. We finally played. Modesto. For all of you Last Chance U fans, man, great stuff here. As Laney, the Laney Eagles out of Oakland. What a good battle, but Modesto would get the better of them, 35-28 on Friday. And on to Saturday, man, there was some good stuff here. Long Beach just absolutely destroys LA Harbor, 32-0. Fullerton actually, I think, had to win on a forfeit over Santa Ana. That might have been, I don't know what happened there, but I do know that RCC, my alma mater, the 2019 and defending CCAA national champions, would be ready to take on the Mount San Jacinto Eagles, and very good school here locally as well in the Empire. COVID, unfortunately, I read a little article about it, and there that goes. So RCC is 1-0 now, I guess, by default, which bummer, not the way they would have won that game, but good stuff there. Well, hopefully, best luck to both those teams moving forward. El Camino, Elko destroys Santa Monica 52-14. Ouch. San Jose over De Anza 34-14. Compton, ouch. Another one of you, if you guys are Last Chance U fans as well, this wasn't their football team that they covered. No, they covered their basketball team last year, but man, their football team destroyed Compton, the Tartars. 70-8. All right, so ELAC getting it done. San Francisco, the college here, the City College of San Francisco, defeating Sarah 66-14. Reedley over San Joaquin Delta 27-14. Contra Costa over Merced 35-19. We have here a few more games. Monterey Peninsula over Los Medanos 35-12. Butte over Sequoias 24-21. American River over Sacramento City 31-13. Santa Barbara over Allen Hancock Allen Hancock defeating Santa Barbara 17-14. Diablo Valley over Siskiyous 31-3. Fresno City over Shabbat 41-7. And I think there's actually a few more. Oh my gosh, there's actually a lot more games. Well, we'll just cut to the chase. There was some good football. Mount Sac, of course, destroying LA Valley. My goodness, 70-0. And a couple more games. COD getting into action with San Bernardino Valley, SBVC, and San Bernardino destroys the Desert 50-8. So, yeah, in your neck of the woods, Taryn, of course, Golden West would take on Orange Coast, and it wasn't a bad football game. Yeah, it wasn't the best either. Golden West defeating Orange Coast 24-7, and Cerritos over Pasadena 22-10. So, I don't know, can't get to all of them. Actually, one more good game here. Citrus versus Chaffee, good game here. Citrus defeating Chaffee 21-16. And there you have it. So, Taryn, any comments on any of these games? Or the few that I didn't mention?
Well, I was heartbroken that Orange Coast lost the Golden West, unfortunately. I messaged you. I don't know if you saw that message, but I was heartbroken about that. About the El Camino Santa Monica game, I don't understand how Santa Monica went from being tied 14-14 to allowing what? How much was it? 38 unanswered points?
A lot.
Like, yeah, 38 if my math is correct. So it's just kind of crazy on how that game turned out. Like, it turned out from being a close game to a one-sided affair. So gotta give props to Elko. That team is legit. And that Allen Hancock Santa Barbara game was looks like that the Allen Hancock Santa Barbara was the only game that went OT, if I'm not mistaken, which was pretty good stuff. Like, it's always good when a game goes OT, especially a low-scoring game such as that. Like, that's when all the work of the defenses has paid off in the offseason and whatnot. So.
Absolutely. So, good stuff there. No rankings for you guys just yet, but I do want to mention we'll have more starting next week, actually. Really, really excited. Starting next week, we're going to start taking a look at players and following players and kind of just, getting the gist of it from the top players around the country, top prospects going on to D1 or any level. And just really fun stuff. So be prepared. Next week we'll be jumping in a closer look to all these different athletes from high school all the way up. So big ups there. Taryn, let's move it on now to the NJCAA. Anything there you got for this governing body this week?
The NJCAA. They did play this week, that's for sure.
Yeah, this is kind of weird. I was looking at it earlier and
well, I see one of the final scores. The first one that popped up was Snow defeating Gordon Sports Academy 85-0.
Oh my gosh! Oh.
Okay, first of all, why are you running the score up that high? 85? What? That's like how many touchdowns?
That's sad.
Gone by?
I think 11.
12 touchdowns.
12?
12 touchdowns and maybe a two-pointer or a two-point conversion. Like, good Lord.
That was sad.
Oh, my God.
Like, what is the point of running the score up like that?
I don't understand. It makes no sense.
Well, I'll tell you right now, there's if for some reason every single week we try to get these, at least for the last 2 weeks, and the NJCAA, I don't know what it is about some of their website, but anything else, Taryn? Because I really don't see anything.
There were Thursday games.
What was that?
There were Thursday games. There were quite a bit of Thursday games. I don't know if that's a thing when it comes to the NJCAA, but they had Thursday games between certain schools like East Mississippi and East Central. That's a little interstate rivalry.
Yeah.
And you had Jones defeating Northeast Mississippi and whatnot. So there were quite a bit of Thursday games, and there were some close games. There was Coahoma defeating Hins 21-14 in a nice little defensive battle. DuPage defeated Ellsworth 17-6, which was another close battle. And then Highland beat Fort Scott 21-13 as well. So other than that, it was mainly just blowouts. But it's all good. I mean, it's great to see the NJCAA back in action. And I kind of wonder why they threw it on a Thursday. Maybe it's something that happens in certain states or something.
Yeah.
Maybe they had to do that. It's a little pondering.
I'm not quite sure. Yeah, it's kind of odd how they. We'll get this one figured out by next week for sure. Tara, what do you call it? Tara. Pierre in the chat room here saying, "How about Kansas fans storming the field after beating South Dakota by 3 at home? Embarrassing." Yeah, we will get to that when we get to the FBS in a little bit, Pierre. Kind of funny little scene there, but as for the NAIA, we're going to move it on to the NAIA. Big ups, man. Big ups to the NAIA football here. NAIA.org. Really cool. They had some players of the week this week. And big ups to, let's see here, week number 1, actually. Where's week number 2? All right. So, looks like we got here player of the week. All right. So, offense. Big ups to Joe Dolencheck out of Morningside. Remember the defending champions in 2019. So big ups to him. Looks like he plays quarterback. So big ups to him. He had quite the game. And let's see his whole stats if we can find them for you. All right, yes. So he threw for 6 straight 300 plus passing game. My goodness, 6 straight. He recorded multiple touchdowns. Recorded multiple TD in 26th career game. Awesome. And 461 passing yards in 9th all time for Morningside. So big ups to him, man. On the defensive player of the week, Jason Freeman out of Olivet Nazarene, Illinois. He had 16 total tackles. My goodness, he was all over the field, including 10 solo tackles, 5 tackles for loss for negative 24 yards, and he sacked the opposing quarterback twice for 15 yards. Taryn, this guy was all over the place, man.
Indeed, he was all over him like horseflies on cowpucky.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. So, Taryn, any games for us this week? Any notable games in the NAIA you can see?
Well, for this week, hang on. I'm actually on last week.
Whoops. Yeah, last week. Yeah, well, last week's football, of course, but...
Oh, wow, I'm dense as heck.
You're good. You're good, Taryn.
It looks like we had quite a bit of great games happening. Lindsey Wilson just dominated Weber International in its season opener 58-7, which that was no surprise. But their true test is going to be this Saturday against Kaiser. Regardless, Kaiser. I think they're one of the top teams. I'm 95% certain that team is like a top 5 or top 10 team in the NAIA. So that's going to be a very fun little match.
Yeah, the Kaiser Seahawks, man, their freaking jerseys are awesome. I posted that on Twitter this past week.
Yeah, but I think that's going to be a very good matchup. I have a great feeling we're going to be in for a barn burner for that one. So I hope we can get I hope it's like an exciting match that gets decided like in the final few seconds or the last few plays. So I'm looking forward to that matchup.
Taryn, not to change up or anything, but my goodness, this is insane. I gotta highlight this real fast. We're gonna jump over to D3. Like I said, next week we promise. I know we said it last week, but we'll be a lot more organized. It's getting some more stats and everything for you guys. But my goodness, you guys, on D3Football.com, it is headlining right here by Joe Sager, a piece by Joe Sager. 17 broken bones, 9 surgeries, 1 game. I do want to read this here on air because this is awesome. So, the roar of the crowd, cheers of teammates, and the pop of pads. Football was back at Ortmeyer Stadium on Saturday. Of course, that's where I played 1 year of D3 football at Laverne back a couple years back. Actually, my goodness, 2013. But this is amazing, man. Nobody was more grateful than that more of Laverne's Cole Roberts. The senior safety appeared on the Leopards' special teams and went in on defense late in the team's 42-0 win over Whittier. He was credited with 1 tackle in the program's first game since 2019. But the stat that mattered the most to him was games played, 1. That's a figure most doubted would ever happen for Roberts after a horrific car crash nearly left him unable to walk for the rest of his life. The crash, it was in March 2020, and spring had just started for Laverne's students. At the same time, COVID-19 infections were raging across the world, and all students at the campus located roughly 30 miles east of Los Angeles were to complete their courses remotely once spring was complete. Roberts had decided to head back home for a while. After finishing his shift at a Laverne area movie theater late on a Sunday night, he started the roughly 230-mile journey northwest to Paso Robles. Wow. Maybe an hour or so from home, the highway was shut down from an earlier accident, so Roberts was detoured to a different road through the desolate desert. Not long after, an oncoming car veered into the lane and hit Roberts' vehicle head on. Oh my gosh. There's a picture of it here, and Taryn, it is absolutely destroyed. This is so sad. It says here, the other driver was killed in the accident. Roberts survived, but had significant injuries to his lower extremities. He was told it took 15 minutes for help to arrive on the scene, and another half hour for him to be extracted from his vehicle. He was to be airlifted to the closest hospital, but a steady rain started to fall, which prevented a medical helicopter from being dispatched to the scene. Oh my gosh. Instead, he was taken by ambulance and arrived at Kern Medical in Bakersfield about 2 hours and 10 minutes after the accident. He says, I was awake until they put me out by meds in the hospital, Roberts said. I don't remember anything about the situation, though, which I'm thankful for because I feel fine driving at night. So I don't remember the incident, but I remember everything leading up to it. In my memory, I must have blacked out the rest. He woke up 2 days later after being put into a medically induced coma. According to my family, I woke up a couple of times and asked what happened, he said. I know I was out for 2 days when I did wake up. I took a selfie and some pictures of my cuts and scratches, thinking I needed to remember this. It was tough for Roberts to comprehend what had happened. It was a whirlwind of emotions. I was just mad at the situation and upset at the fact I couldn't walk. I was asking why this happened to me, he said. One of the reasons I cried about my situation was because I didn't think I was going to be able to play football. That's crazy to look back and think about it, but it happened. Since the accident happened, at the onset of massive COVID precautions, his brother, Wesley, was able to visit early on, but visitors were restricted soon after, so no teammates could come to the hospital. That didn't stop his family from coming up with a unique solution, though. His father, Steve, and stepmother, Sabine, I believe, I want to butcher her name there, Anderson Roberts, made the short drive to the hospital. His mother, Martina Lovejoy Moxley, and his stepfather, Wade Moxley, left their home in Rigby, Idaho, the day after the accident, and went to the hospital. All four decided to quarantine in an RV in the hospital parking lot. With one person taking extended shifts in Robert's hospital room, with someone by his side at all times. My parents are divorced, and they quarantine in an RV trailer together with their spouses. Robert said, I didn't think it'd be possible. I love my parents, but having them in a room together for more than 20 minutes is stressful. Roberts remained at the hospital for 3 weeks. In that span, he had 6 surgeries with multiple procedures to fix 17 broken bones in 27 places. All told, he's had 9 surgeries and 22 blood transfusions. His last surgery was in December. At the very beginning, the doctors were contemplating amputation just above the knee on both legs, he said. They said because I still had feeling in the bottom of my feet, that's why they decided to keep them and give me the chance. I didn't even know amputation was an option until my mom told me a year later. Road to recovery. After being discharged from the hospital, Roberts began rehabilitation. I had to learn how to shower, get in and out of vehicles, and be able to get onto a wheelchair, that sort of thing, he said. It was frustrating. However, Roberts made it his goal not only to walk again, but to be on the field for the Leopards for the opener of his senior season. The doctors told me I was recovering faster than I was supposed to, he said. I stood for the first time 2 months directly after the accident. I took my first steps 3 months exactly after I took the accident. I don't think it was doctor recommended, and I don't think my parents recommended it either. But it was something I knew in my head I needed to do. I wanted to come back and play football. Thus began the long process of building his body back into shape. He was in a wheelchair at the 3 month mark and using a walker 1 month later. His doctors were sorry guys, the long article, but my goodness, this is absolutely amazing. So it's a long one, but he says here, the game. So big ups to him. If you guys want to read the entire article, because it is a very long article, but big ups to, once again, Joe Sager, D3Sports.com. Let's take a look here and see. I know there's actually a lot more to go here, but like I said, I don't want to, there's a lot to go, but it says here, my goodness, what a courageous story. He fought all the way back, you guys, and in his season debut here, it says, Roberts remained determined to play football, and he began fall camp with the team. He says, the doctors told me it'd take a year and a half for a full recovery. A year and 5 months was August, which was the start of fall camp, he said. That pushed me through when I was going through physical therapy. So it looks like he fought through, and let me just read this last paragraph for you guys. It says, Robert saw some action at free safety late in the game and passed all the coaches' tests there too. This fall, Roberts is going to cherish every practice, every game, and every chance he can get to step on the field with his teammates. It says, he says, it's my last semester in college. I don't plan to pursue football after college, which I might have overseas or something if I hadn't had that car accident, he said. I am just focusing on playing my last year and putting my all into it and taking all the memories. Everyone knows that. With COVID-19, it can be taken away in an instant, and it's not fun when it's taken away from you. So, once again, incredible article here. My apologies. I know I took a little bit of time reading that, but I just saw this, and that was absolutely amazing. So, ladies and gentlemen, courageous here. Courageous thing by comeback, that is, by Cole Roberts. Ladies and gentlemen, that was very touching, amazing. Just knowing that I even played at the school, that's awesome. And this man, I just give him so much credit. Taryn, any thoughts, comments on that article, man?
That was a lot and very amazing. Like, that kid is definitely the definition of never, ever, ever give up. And he deserves, like, a comeback player or some sort of, like, gigantic award to commemorate how bravely he was able to come back from such an injury such as that. And it's absolutely amazing. I couldn't imagine what going through that sort of thing. So my hat's off to this guy, and I really hope he falls out and he succeeds in life. And he passes his story on to other people.
I couldn't agree more, Taryn. So, my goodness, what an amazing job there. D3.com, D3football.com is the first article you will see. I saw Laverne, and I was like, oh, cool, it's my alma mater. And then I saw these horrible, what happened, and my goodness, just what an amazing thing for him. So, thank you, Lord, for letting him have a chance to not only walk and be regular, be able to walk again, but to play football again. That is absolutely amazing. So, with that said, Taryn, the top 25 here. Taking a look this past week, we had some pretty good games. Chapman defeats Pacific 35-23 this past week, so pretty big ups to them. Number 8 Salisbury would defeat Albright 56-14. Delaware Valley over Keene 57-6. Not a bad victory there. Moving on to Saturday's top 25 battles here. Man, there were some good ones. Brockport, hey, we know who they are. A couple years ago, they were in the D3 playoffs, defeating Framingham State 31-0. Number 19, Washington Jefferson over upset alert over number 11, John Carroll, 21-14. Number 15, Union over Mooresville State, 40-14 here. Muhlenberg, number 13, the Mules defeating TCNJ, 41-0. Mountain Union doing what Mountain Union usually does, stomping all over teams. The number 2 Raiders, actually, number 2 this year, or at least at the moment, 48-7 over the number 20 Westminster in Pennsylvania. Number 9, Wisconsin Oshkosh defeating Huntingdon, 28-4. Number 17, Randolph Macon, I believe, 31-21. There, nice victory. And then a couple more. Let's see here. Central, hey, we know them. 46-27 this week over St. Oath. Number 16, Bethel over North Park, 59-7. Just some great football games here. But what's a couple more to highlight? The big one that I just want to see, of course, was absolutely incredible. Number 6, St. John's was put to the test versus number 23, Aurora. This was a football game, man. Aurora lit the scoreboard up in the second quarter, leading St. John's at the half 20-14. They scored all those points in the second quarter, so the Spartans really came to play. But after that, St. John's, they would go nearly back and forth the entire game, but St. John's would get the better in the fourth quarter, winning that game 39-33 at home. What a game. And then, of course, just an absolute blowout. We have number 7, Hardin Simmons. Of course, we know who that is. HSU defeating Wayland Baptist 49-0. And the number 1 team in the country absolutely destroying Simpson. Taryn, are you ready for this? 84-6.
Ouch.
I mean, my goodness. Any comments on these games, Taryn, in D3 this week?
Well, now that you mentioned Chapman, Bob Owens, the head coach of Chapman, won his 100th game for the Panthers as he and his team was able to defeat Pacific Oregon, was it?
I believe, yes. Yes.
Yeah. And Bob Owens has been at the helm for 22 seasons, and he just picked up his 100th win. He's 193, and apparently his CU record, I don't know if that's what that entails. That's his Chapman record, but he just won his 100th overall win as a head coach. But he just won his 80th game at Chapman. So he's 80-50 as Chapman's head coach, and he's 193 as a head coach overall. So just need to clear that up, and congratulations to Bob Owens on your 100th victory as a head coach. You deserve it.
Congratulations, man. That's an applause right there. Congratulations. Absolutely. Taryn, in Division 2 this past week, there was some interesting stuff going down. Number 9, Slippery Rock was put to the test. Wayne State nearly beat these guys, man. 24-21. What a victory there. Slippery Rock will prevail on the road, but my goodness, what a close game that was last week. Of course, Wingate getting a big victory over Shaw. Let's see, any other close ones? Well, there was a huge upset. Carson Newman, the number 18 team, absolutely demolished by an unranked West Georgia team, 47-7. Talk about a big victory there. Next on up, let's see here. Minnesota State almost losing here to Northern State, 40-34. Talk about that close game right there. And another one, number 19 Shepherd, 35-30 on the road to Ohio Dominican. My goodness, that was another close game there. Alchita Baptist over Oklahoma Baptist, 38-31. Because, oh my gosh, so many close games here with these high-ranked teams. That's why I really enjoy Division II. Another upset, Central Missouri, number 11, being upset by Pittsburgh State, 35-16. Also, Black Hills would defeat Dickinson State in NAIA school there, 30-24. Ferris State, then you have your lopsided ones. Ferris State defeating Finlay, 54 to number 14. That's the reason why the Ferris State Bulldogs are number 3 in the country. There you have it. So just a couple more that I think were actually noteworthy. Actually, just really one more, Taryn. Actually, I had another NAIA versus D2. West Texas A&M destroying Texas College 73-0. That was a beatdown. Also, this one here I thought was pretty cool. Texas, a defensive game. I love me some defense, man. Texas A&M Commerce, number 5, will defeat CSU Pueblo, number 12. 12-16. So talk about a good football game there. That's my kind of. Sorry, 12-6. I'm sorry. Talk about a good football game there. Really, really excited about that score. And there you have it. So, really, I mean, at least I don't think there's really too many more to get into, at least. But Taryn, any thoughts on any of these D2 games this past week?
Yeah, that game involving Samuco and Pueblo was the intense one. I got to see a little of that, and it was a defensive war. And I dig these Division II games with the close scores and whatnot. It makes it exciting and puts you on the edge of your seat. I think NCAA Division II football could catch the eyes of some of these new football fans, especially for those that aren't I wouldn't say fully into it or fully into Division I, but for those that are still getting into college football and whatnot. So,
yeah, there's some good football out there, y'all. So, with that said, big ups, of course, and lots of love to Division II, man. Just a couple noteworthy games. Like I said, next week will be lots more in depth, talking about players and of course, big games and all that good stuff there. So, next up, we're going to the FCS. And Darren, FCS football, man, of course. This is just tune-up season. I hate it, but it's blank. It's tune-up games, where the big Division I schools say, let's just pick on a little school and pay them lots of money to play them. And the little school's heck yeah, let's build our program. So, I don't know. It is what it is. But, man, there was some good stuff this past week with some of these schools. You can't... Some of these schools you just got to show love to, man, because, my goodness, it was absolutely awesome. So... first things first, and there was a website that I used to love, and I don't even know if it exists anymore, and I'm going to be so bummed out if it is gone because I just don't see it. So, wow, that sucks. So, FCS used to have a website, and I don't know where it went, but my goodness, it was awesome. Anyway, I guess we're just going to have to go on to the ESPN app, which sucks because I wanted that website instead. Regardless, let's take a look here. At Double A, all right? So, this past week, my goodness, there were some good ones. Really, really, really excited for some of these games moving forward, from these teams moving forward, because they give quite the fight here. I mean, really. Could we get a hand here for, let's see, no, we had a couple wins, actually. At least I thought so. UC Davis defeating Tulsa 19-7. 17. I think we already talked about this one last week, as a matter of fact. I'm sorry. But some of these teams here, if I'm not mistaken, East Washington and UNLV, that was a very good game. They actually defeated UNLV 35-33 in double overtime. And let's see. Yeah, so this is what Pierre was talking about earlier. Kansas would win. They would defeat South Dakota. Of course, Kansas hasn't been good in football in many years. And they will defeat South Dakota, a FCS school, and the fans would storm the field. Taryn, any thoughts on that?
You basically read my mind about that. I was very flabbergasted to hear that the fans stormed the field like they just won the national championship because Kansas defeated an FCS school. I mean, I understand because Kansas hadn't won a game last year, and also they're just a basketball school. I hate to say it, but they are just a basketball school. But for them to storm the field after they just barely beat an FCS school, it's kind of weenie, if you ask me. On another note, I did see that South Dakota State defeated Colorado State 42-23.
Yes.
And that was a little fun little action right there. I'm surprised Colorado State didn't do that good. But then again, Colorado State isn't really the best of the bunch when it comes to FBS schools.
Yeah, not necessarily the best. I'll tell you what, there were, like I said, some good games that I thought were pretty cool. Overall, that was actually really neat to see that. And, yeah, Kansas, come on, fans. I mean, that's a come on, man, right there. I know they're excited. A win's a win, but anyway. We're going to get to a very notable game real quick because, Darren, this is the game that I've been waiting to talk about since we started the show. And it's time to wake up. It's time to address the elephant in the room. Ladies and gentlemen, the Montana Grizzlies. Yeah! How about them Grizzlies, y'all? Montana gets it done. Yes! This team is a Division I AA school playing for the Big Sky Conference. They will head on over to Seattle and walk right up in that stadium in front of 70,000 people and stick it. It wasn't a stick it to them. It wasn't. But my goodness, it was just an upset. I'll tell you that. 13-7, my kind of game. First quarter, Washington scores first. Field goal by Wisconsin, by Montana. But my goodness, that fourth quarter, defense just played all out. And in that fourth quarter was all Montana, man. Touchdown here, Cameron Humphrey on the 4-yard carry. Kevin Macias with the extra point. And then Kevin Macias with a field goal with 2:54 to go in the game, 22-yarder. Washington had every chance. And by the way, may I mention the number 20 ranked Washington Huskies had every chance to come back and win this thing, even with 2:54 to go, and they couldn't. Montana was too good, too strong. Taryn, freaking Montana will upset a team that we know all too well in the Pac-12, number 20 Washington. My goodness.
Yeah, that was probably one of the more crazier upsets. We almost had another upset involving an FCS school against a top 10 FBS school, as Iowa State just barely beat Northern Iowa 16-10.
Yeah.
But that Montana defeating Washington really took the cake. But it just goes to show you that FCS schools are nothing, and I repeat, nothing to underestimate.
Absolutely.
They're a whole different breed.
Absolutely, Taryn. This is just a great way of putting it. And yeah, so for time's sake, we have to move along. But we'll be talking lots more FCS coming up. Man, great stuff there. And Taryn, of course, the tippy top of college football this past week, and we're only going to talk top 25. We should talk more. Actually, we're going to dabble a little bit around here. So not top 25, sorry. We're going to dabble around everywhere. But Taryn, great football in week number 1. My goodness. This past Saturday, Thursday, there were some good games. UCF knocking out Boise State. That was actually a pretty good game there. I really liked the fact that they came out and played really, really well. Of course, we had, as I mentioned, East Washington defeating UNLV in 2 overtimes there. We had let's talk about this real fast, Darren. Number 4 Ohio State. I've had to put this on our Twitter account. What does this really mean? Is Minnesota just that good, or is Ohio State kind of fallen off a little bit? Were they shaking the cobwebs off from last season? Talk to me, man. What do you think about Ohio State in this game?
Well, I thought Ohio State was rather impressive, not defensively but offensively. I think they were just shaking off the cobwebs a bit. I think you've got to give it up a little bit more to Minnesota, as they came in with nothing left to lose, and they came in ready to defend their home turf. So I think that was just I think one of the more dangerous teams is a team that has nothing left to lose and a lot more to gain. So I think Ohio State kind of took them for granted. I don't think they'll take their next opponent for granted. Otherwise, that could be a mistake on their part. So we'll see what happens with Ohio State going forward. But it's a solid win.
Very solid win. So we had some more victories here. Michigan State over Northwestern, 38-21. Definitely did not see that coming. And then, of course, number 10, North Carolina, defeating Virginia Tech. Darren, talk to me real fast, man. Does North Carolina really deserve to be ranked? Or, I don't know. What do you think, man? Because Virginia Tech beat them. I feel like Virginia Tech is a school that always teeters on the lines of actually being ranked and not. But man, North Carolina, they haven't been good in football in many years. And last year happens, yay, they did really, really well. They were ranked really high coming into the season, and now they just lost their first game. They just lost Virginia Tech. I mean, Taryn, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't understand why North Carolina was that high ranked, considering I didn't see what was so special about them. I guess maybe it's an ACC bias thing, and maybe they're the only team that's standing in the way of Clemson. Like, it's rather ridiculous. I understand why Virginia Tech won because they were at home, and again, this was the whole nothing left to lose thing. I think North Carolina took their opponent for granted. Their offense really sputtered, and Virginia Tech deservedly they deserve to win. And also, UNC's quarterback threw 3 picks, so he had more picks than a guitar shop, unfortunately.
They sure did. So, they
didn't even get on the board until the second half for North Carolina.
That says a lot. So, with that said, some notable games on Saturday. Number 19, Penn State, man, over Wisconsin, over number 12, Wisconsin. Cilly and I were watching this game. Very good football game. Penn State closes it out on defense. Pretty good defensive battle here. Really enjoyed it. I thought that was pretty good. Tulane gives Oklahoma all they can handle. Number 2, Oklahoma. My goodness. What in the crap happened here? Tulane came ready to play, and Oklahoma, I don't know, they slept on them or something. So that happened. Stanford, wow. Kansas State, they're a good team. Stanford, I thought they were better. Well, guess what? Not this weekend. Kansas State stomps all over Stanford, 24-7, man. Pretty tough there. Number 11, Oregon will have, wow. Once again, this is another thing for me. Is Oregon just fallen off a little bit? Did Florida State just come to play? I mean, is this one of those things where it's like, wow, or is it cobwebs? I mean, week 1? To me, that was crazy. But then there are no cobwebs in certain games, as Alabama looks like Alabama. And they will absolutely destroy number 14, Miami. 14-33. 44 to 13. Absolutely just smack them around. Indiana, a team that, well, they came in ranked 17. And number 18, Iowa, just pretty much let them know that they're not 17. 34-6 at home for Iowa. Just a beat down. I mean, really. So, yeah, that happened. A few more notables, of course, as you mentioned already. Iowa State almost losing to Northern Iowa. I'll talk about a funny game there. Our beloved USC Trojans, number 15, will defeat San Jose State 30-7. Pretty good football game there. Very excited about that. Syracuse with a victory over Ohio, 29-9. And then really just a few more notables. Just kind of put there. I'll let Taryn, of course, roll on with some of these other games. But just for me, I thought there were some good ones there, of course. I know Taryn's probably going to elaborate on this one a lot, but UCLA getting it done, man. Defeating number 16 LSU 38-27 in the Rose Bowl. Nevada defeating Cal 22-17 was another one. Arizona looks like their football team again. Wow. They would actually give BYU a good game. 24-16 BYU wins in the Vegas Kickoff Classic. San Diego State defeating New Mexico State 28-10. And yeah, just overall some good football this past weekend. What my favorite game, though, as we talked about earlier, my goodness, my absolute favorite football game this past week was Notre Dame and Florida State on Sunday. They went to overtime. Notre Dame led this freaking game. Like, I forgot. It was like 40 to I don't know. It was lopsided. Like, they had this game in the bag.
38-20.
38-20. With 4:37 to go in the third quarter, and freaking Florida State, man, the Noles came back. They fought tooth and nail. Unfortunately, this wasn't their night, though. Notre Dame wins it in overtime. Their first ever overtime. How the hell has that even happened? They've been around for 1,000 years, so that was pretty crazy. And then, of course, on Monday night, just because we're talking about these games, just real quick, Monday night, a game that was nowhere near close. Nowhere near close, as Ole Miss will stomp all over Louisville. Just once again, not a game to talk about, but it was on Monday, so I guess that's just distinct. 43-24, and there you have it in the Chick-fil-A kickoff game. So, Taryn, go ahead, man, take the lead, brother. Any of these games you want to talk about, whichever ones, man, let us know.
Well, that Chick-fil-A game, I think Louisville's going to need all the Chick-fil-A they can need, considering they got quite spanked by Ole Miss. I was kind of disappointed and kind of wondering why San Diego State was just off to a slow start. They were down 10-0 at halftime, and I was thinking, I thought this whole offensive struggling performance was supposed to be gone after last year, but they were able to turn the tides as their defense rose to the occasion, and that UCLA game really was quite amazing. Before the game, I guess a UCLA fan was like trying to get into the head of Coach Ed Orgeron, and Ed said this little phrase. There's one word that is kind of I can't really say over the air, but he's like, "Hey you, yeah you, bring your A down in your little sissy blue shirt. Bring your A down in your little sissy blue shirt." Yeah, just look that up and you'll understand. Look up sissy blue shirt, and eventually UCLA took that as a joke, and they took it as billboard material, and they eventually won, or bulletin board material, not billboard material. But one matchup I was disappointed was Iowa and Indiana, and disappointingly, I picked Indiana to win, and Iowa
Poor Terry.
took him to school. And then also, I was also a little disappointed in Louisiana against Texas, but Texas is kind of a well-oiled machine. Like, Louisiana needed to play perfect, and unfortunately, I got caught drinking the Kool-Aid on Louisiana, so sorry, Texas.
Well, that was a toughie, though. Taryn, I don't know. I totally understand why you would go against Texas, though, because Texas, they've had, over the last, decade, I don't know what it is, they seem to fall apart. They really do. The Raging Cajuns, seriously, it was, yes, 38 to 18, but very easily it could have been the other way around, in my opinion, because Texas, at least, okay, maybe not with the teams and everything, and our apologies for talking bad about you Longhorns, but just saying, the last, couple of years, through the decade, you haven't been so great. Some, notable games, losing and everything. So, yeah, go figure, I guess. But Texas winning a nice game here for them. Starting it off, and you know what? Congratulations to them. So, not too bad. So, Taryn, before we end off on week 1, man, get to week number 2. Any more games you want to talk about?
No, I think we've touched base on most of them.
Alrighty. Well, if that's the case, let's go ahead and get on over to the top 25 games in week number 2 and get those picks in. So, on Friday, of course, Darren, you can bring up any other games, too, that are not ranked. We're just picking ranked games, but that you're looking forward to. On Friday, number 17, Coastal Carolina will take on Kansas. Taryn, Kansas might just flood the field again. I don't know. What do you think?
I'm taking Coastal Carolina. No doubt about it.
Yeah, the Chanticleers are probably going to eat them for breakfast. 25-0 spread here from ESPN. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure of that. Next up on Saturday, the ranked games continue. This is going to be a heck of a game. I do not see Oregon winning this game whatsoever, but I see it being a pretty good football game. They're at Ohio State. Number 3 Ohio State takes on number 12 Oregon. And Ohio State's actually favored by 14.5 points. Taryn, what you think?
I'm taking Ohio State to win that one. Trying to find me some paper to write our picks down.
Oh, you're good, brother. Yeah, so we're going 2 for 2 on those right there. Chanticleers and Buckeyes. Next up, Alabama State, number 25, Auburn. Well, that's a no-brainer. We're both going to go Auburn in that one. This is just kind of ridiculous. FCS schools. Number 13, Florida, taking on South Florida. 28 point spread here. There's got to be no doubt, Taryn. We're both taking Florida, right?
Yes, we're both taking Florida, and I'm taking Auburn.
Absolutely. Number 19, Virginia Tech. Hey, now they're ranked. Yeah, they should be after beating a team that shouldn't be ranked. North Carolina, sorry. They'll be taking on Mid-Tennessee State. They're favored by 20 points. Hokies all the way, right, Taryn?
Absolutely.
All right. Next up. Absolutely. Number 8, Notre Dame will be taking on Toledo. The Irish favored by 17 points. I'm sure we're both taking the Fighting Irish in that one. Number 2, and how can we? Oh my goodness, Taryn, how can we forget the big one, man? From this past week. Oh my gosh, I went down so fast because I had this one highlighted that I forgot to talk. We forgot to talk about this one, but Taryn, the elephant in the room. How can we forget, man? Number 5, Georgia will knock off number 3, Clemson, 10-3 in a defensive battle. I mean, overall, man, freaking Georgia gets it done. What you think?
That was very impressive by Georgia. If they could do that all season long, then they are golden. But it's only the first game. They can't get too high off that. So, all in all, Clemson has a little bit of work to do. I think this first game without Trevor Lawrence kind of did them in, and I think DJ Uiagalelei will get better as time goes by, but this game should probably be his wake-up call.
I agree. We shall see, and looking forward to what we got going on. Uiagalelei is starting, isn't he?
Sorry, what?
I said Uiagalelei is starting, right?
Yeah, he started.
Oh, well, let's see this young man go out of Southern California do his thing, man. So, they'll be taking on UAB this week, so I'm pretty sure they're going to thrash them. I'm pretty sure we're both taking the Bulldogs. We have number 5, Texas A&M, taking on Colorado State. Pretty sure we're both going Gig 'em in that one as well, Texas A&M. Number 7, Cincinnati taking on Murray State. Pretty sure we're both taking Cincinnati, the Bearcats. Number 11, Penn State taking on Ball State. Well, I'm pretty sure we're going Penn State. And my apologies for picking for you, Taryn, but I'm pretty sure we're both picking both. These are no-brainers, right?
Wait, what? I don't know what?
So these are no-brainers, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so number 1, Alabama taking on Mercer. Yeah, roll tide. All right, Taryn, now we got a good football game here. Number 10, Iowa taking on number 9, Iowa State. A rivalry matchup here. Good football game. Both these teams got strong programs. But last week, Iowa State almost losing to Northern Iowa is so very concerning to me. Maybe it's just a bad day. I don't know. But Iowa just blowing out, basically. Well, yeah, they did. Indiana. I mean, to me, there's no way to go but go Hawkeyes in this one. Cyclones are strong. They had, like 10 years ago, their really cool victories, I believe, or the upset of like the decade or whatever you want to call it. Well, maybe not of the decade, but very good upset over Oklahoma State a couple years ago, or about 10 years ago. But I don't know if that upset's going to be this week. I mean, I guess you wouldn't even call it an upset because they're so high ranked. But Terry, I'm going Hawkeyes, man. What about you?
Yeah, I'm going to go Iowa for this one. I've learned my lesson from last week, and I know not to underestimate the Hawkeyes.
Yeah, good football team, and just too much good there, okay? So, number 6, Clemson, taking on South Carolina State. Pretty sure we're taking Clemson. Number 4, Oklahoma, taking on West Carolina. Boomer. Number 15, Texas, taking on Arkansas. That's actually an interesting game, Jared. Excuse me.
I'm going Texas over Arkansas.
Me too, but Taryn, walks this be the week where this happens to Texas again and Arkansas freaking wins this game?
That would be quite the upset. It would be a massive upset.
Especially with Texas at 15, Arkansas just being horrendous the last couple of years. But believe it or not, Taryn, ESPN has Texas only winning by 7 points. Is that a little too close for comfort for you, or no?
And I'm confident Texas will get it done. Arkansas did have a good season last year, but can they really get it done against one of the big boy teams?
Absolutely. East Michigan will take on number 18, Wisconsin. Wisconsin is pretty irritated after that loss to Penn State. I'm pretty sure they're going to be winning this one. I'm pretty sure we're both taking the Badgers here. Number 22. Now, this is actually a game that could be... It just could be, Darren. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this one. Number 22, Miami, will be hosting Appalachian State. Appalachian State, of course, a team that has climbed up to the ranks in the last couple of decades. They have just moved up. But they will get a nice victory last week in the Dukes Mayo Classic defeating East Carolina 33-19. Big ups to them for that. Miami, man, number 22. They were blown out last week. I mean, of course, it was Alabama. I don't know. Do you think the U is strong enough to? They're favored by 9 points, but Appalachian State, man, solid school. This is actually a hard game to pick. I have my pick. I do. I'm gonna take Miami because I'm gonna trust them. But gosh darn it, if Appalachian State is not tempting, what do you think, Taryn?
I gotta go with Miami as well. It's gotta be all about the U. Well,
good pick. So next up, Austin Peay taking on number 20 Ole Miss. Pretty sure both going the Rebels there. Number 24 North Carolina, which don't know how they were number 10 in the first place, but whatever. Taking on Georgia. I'm pretty sure the Tar Heels may get a nice victory here. Then we have the Holy War. Taryn, the Holy War. Let's talk a little bit about this game. This actually should be a very good football game. I really hope. I just hope it's a good one. I really do. I want this to be a good football game. Okay, number 21 Utah taking on BYU. Utah is favored by 7 points. This is a tough one, man, but I'm actually going to go BYU in this game. What do you think, Taryn?
I was going to go BYU, but I'm going to play it safe and go Utah. So that's the only one we're probably going to disagree on.
Okay, well, next up, hey, the number 14 USC Trojans, our Trojans on Fox, by the way, taking on Stanford. Stanford last week looking miserable. USC looking pretty darn good. They're actually favored 17 points, the Trojans. They're our team, Taryn. I know we're both taking the Trojans in this one.
Yep.
And last but not least, UNLV taking on number 23, Arizona State. Herm Edwards and his Sun Devils are favored by 33.5 points. Yeah. Are we agreeing?
Of course we're agreeing.
Alrighty. Well, with that said, I'm failing to see if I'm not mistaken, I think they actually moved, unless, I know there's a lot of games this weekend, of course, big time games, but maybe they're both not ranked. They're not both ranked. Well, Saturday Night Football getting underway, of course. We had a really good Saturday Night Football last week, as, my goodness, man, that game last week was pretty good, as, let's see here, what game was that again? Yeah, so memorable, right? So memorable. No, sorry guys, got a lot going on. But Saturday Night Football, of course. Yes, Georgia knocking off Clemson. Talk about a way to start off Saturday Night Football. Well, this Saturday Night Football, it would have been one ranked team in there, but, well, now there's not. After they would take a gigantic L, and I'm sorry, I know it was only 6 points, but they freaking lost to an FCS school. Taryn, the Grizzlies knock off. Not only did they knock off Washington in the out of the win column, but they would knock off that cute little ranking that they had of 20 last week. And now Washington is taking on Michigan in the Big House, and Michigan has been anything but good the last couple of years. And believe it or not, just because Michigan got their cute little victory last week, which, I mean, hey, is what it is. They got a nice win. They got a victory over Western Michigan, or West Michigan, or whatever you want to call it, Western Michigan. Sorry. 47-14, but Michigan hasn't been that great, and believe it or not, they're actually favored in this game by 7 points. This is the Saturday Night Football matchup. Taryn, who are you taking, man?
Wait, hold on. Sorry, I was just looking over our picks. What was the matchup again? My bad.
Washington versus Michigan.
Oh wow, I forgot those two teams were playing. That's a tough one because both those teams are unranked, and one of those teams will most likely be ranked next week, while the other will be miserable. I'm going with Michigan.
Are you really?
Yeah, so I'm probably going to regret it in the slightest, but I'm taking Michigan.
Well, I'm taking a really, really, really group of angry Huskies that really shouldn't have lost last week, but they did anyway. So, I'm going Washington in this game. Should be a fun one, so we shall see. So, with that said, Taryn, man, It is great to be back on air next week, as we promised last week, or as we said last week we would. Our apologies, we promised this time we will be really, next week, pretty organized, making sure that we got all the, I's dotted and T's crossed and all that good stuff. Looking at athletes for next week and just all kinds of great stuff for next week, man. So, Taryn, with that said, brother, any last words before we're out of here tonight?
Well, I just gotta tell y'all, college football is back, and I am excited, and I'm all for it, my people, and I can't wait for the college football, and I can't wait for Stanford and sounds like rhymes with Stanford USC. That might be it could be the safest bet if you want to take the whatchamacallit, the 3 points. But for USC, I'm pretty sure they'll wolf the victory. I know Stanford's starting another quarterback because Stanford used a 2-quarterback system, but I just hope that the Trojans can pull it off because they look impressive, but can they win 2 in a row against another NorCal team? It'd be quite funny.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Taryn, that's going to do it for tonight's show, man. You know how it goes, y'all. With that said, I think it's time to do one thing that we enjoy doing every week when, we've gone a little bit, towards that ending of the show. Cue the music, because we're out of here! Alright, y'all. It has been a great one. Definitely enjoyed that show. I want to thank you. Thank you to Bosco. Lots of staff talking about much more. Damn, that's it, man. Where can they find you, brother?
Y'all can find me on Twitter. And that's where I focus signing off. We will see y'all next Wednesday evening. Right here on Usc Radio. We're going to all. Take care. And as always,